I'm here on this pristine beach, on this remote island within the territory of Hong Kong. It's part of a group of uninhabited and abandoned islands. These islands have an interesting and somewhat controversial history. This one that I'm on was once a bustling community of villagers. Another one was once home to a former Vietnamese refugee camp.
It took them 16 days to sail from North Vietnam. These boat people gave up everything to reach Hong Kong.
And the vast majority face a compulsory return to the country they've just fled.
But these days are now long gone, and the islands are now bereft of people. The only things left are remnants of a past life. These are the Soko Islands. The Soko Islands are remote, and the journey to get there is rather long. It begins at the central piers on Hong Kong Island, where I board a ferry. This ferry takes us to the island of Tai A Chau. This is the bustling island of Tai A Chau. From Tai A Chau, you take one of these sampans, also known as water taxis, because you hire them on the spot and ride them to other islands, just like a taxi. The sampan journey is long, and the wake of the larger ferries and ships batter our tiny vessel. But after just over an hour, we begin to approach Siu A Chau, the second largest of the 11 Soko Islands. As we stepped foot on the pier, what greeted us was this beautiful, pristine stretch of beach, rarely walked upon by others. Siu A Chau was once home to over 100 villagers. Some lived on the islands and farmed the land, whilst a separate community of fishermen lived on junks in the bay. This documentary from 1974 shows the lives of some of the communities in the Soko Islands.
Do you mend nets?
No, I look after the children. She does the nets.
What do you do?
Mend nets, not much else. When the girls grow up, they work.
Where do you sleep?
Right here.
When you marry, will you live ashore or continue fishing?
Boat people fish. Land people do land things. Women here take care of children, wash clothes, cook rice. The work is never really finished.
When does your husband come home from the sea?
I saw him a week ago.
There were pirates here in the past.
Yes, but now there are none.
When did they leave?
When the communists came. I know all about it. I know everything about the past. People can make money fishing today. But in the past, fish brought us only 7 cents a pound. Even if you worked all day, you couldn't earn 40 cents.
Which do you prefer, the present or the past?
The present is much better.
But by the 1990s, all the villagers had left the island, attracted away by better prospects at more developed islands and the Hong Kong mainland. The houses of the villagers were left behind, but on my trip there, all of them seemed to have been reclaimed by nature. Up ahead is the wall of a village house that's been reclaimed by nature. A small temple by the beach is still very much maintained, possibly by the occasional returning villager or the fishermen who fished nearby. There's some fairly fresh offerings in here. However, it's the larger island of Tai A Chau which has the more colourful history. Tai A Chau, the largest of the Soko islands, was also home to up to 200 farmers and fishermen. The island was bought by a developer in 1980 for a resort that never happened, and the villagers took their earnings and moved to Siu A Chau Island. The Hong Kong government repurchased the land a few years later to build a detention centre for up to 10,000 Vietnamese refugees. These Vietnamese refugees began fleeing their country after the end of the Vietnam War in 1975 for fear of being persecuted by the new communist government. They were also known as the Vietnamese boat people, as they left by boat or ship. Their first destinations were many Southeast Asian countries and Hong Kong, which was the leading destination as it had a more liberal policy towards refugees and was helping to resettle them either in the territory or a Western country.
The Royal Hong Kong Police on one side, on the other a boat full of Vietnamese.
You want to stay in Hong Kong?
We want to stay in Hong Kong for some time, and then go to other country.
There were 66 people on this river barge. It took them 16 days to sail from North Vietnam. Their possessions were pitiful.
As the tide of refugees grew, the colonial government of Hong Kong began interning them at camps to deter more from arriving. There were several Vietnamese refugee camps across Hong Kong. They were criticised for having bad conditions. The Tai A Chau camp was considered better than the others. It was purpose-built for refugees. Families who were considered more respectable were selected to be housed there, and they had free reign of the island. But even with better conditions, tensions between the refugees and the authorities sometimes boiled over, just like some of the other camps.
越南達成遣返船民協議之後，滯港越南船民不滿，大亞洲船民喺1992年今日借故鬧事，300幾個船民聚集向警員掟石，又放火燒警崗，警方施放60枚催淚彈鎮壓。
By the early 1990s, the Hong Kong government began taking a hardline stance by force repatriating refugees back to Vietnam that they considered to be illegal economic migrants rather than political refugees.
But only the genuine refugees, a handful, can have the prospect of going on to the rest of the world.
And by 1996, a year before Hong Kong's handover to China, the Tai A Chau camp was shut down. Here's what it looks like today. My drone shots show a flat concrete area right in the middle of the island. These were the foundations of the camp. I wanted to dig more into the lives of the Vietnamese boat people who lived in Tai A Chau, so I did some searching online and found a Facebook group dedicated to this refugee camp. And despite being former refugees and living in limbo on the island at the time, many of them appear to have fond memories of the camp. Quite a few of them seem to have been resettled in other countries. On a separate visit to Tai A Chau, I also camped on one of the beaches there with some friends, just like Siu A Chau. It was stunning. And so I'd like to finish this video with this. The vast majority of the people of Hong Kong now live in urbanised areas, and it's often easy for people to forget that there are beautiful, far-flung areas of this territory which were once home to communities of people. Communities with fascinating stories. Communities whose stories were part of the history of Hong Kong.
Out in Hong Kong waters, the Vietnamese river barge under police tow. Its former passengers are about to exchange life under communism for life in a British detention camp. Their new world will be a confined one. Their brightest lights this Christmas will be searchlights,